January 11th, 2017, Wednesday of the first week in Ordinary Time.
A reading from the letter to the Hebrews. Since the children share in blood and flesh, Jesus likewise shared in them, that through death he might destroy the one who has the power of death, that is, the devil, and free those who through fear of death have been subject to slavery all their life. Surely he did not help angels, but rather the descendants of Abraham. Therefore he had to become like his brothers and sisters in every way, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest before God, to expiate the sins of the people. Because he himself was tested through what he suffered, he is able to help those who are being tested. The word of the Lord.
Responsorial Psalm. The response is, the Lord remembers his covenant forever. Give thanks to the Lord, invoke his name, make known among the nations his deeds. Sing to him, sing his praise, proclaim all his wondrous deeds. The Lord remembers his covenant forever. Glory in his holy name. Rejoice, O hearts that seek the Lord. Look to the Lord in his strength. Seek to serve him constantly. The Lord remembers his covenant forever. You descendants of Abraham, his servants, sons of Jacob, his chosen ones. He, the Lord, is our God. Throughout the earth his judgments prevail. The Lord remembers his covenant forever. He remembers forever his covenant, which he made binding for 1,000 generations, which he entered into with Abraham, and by his oath to Isaac. The Lord remembers his covenant forever.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. On leaving the synagogue, Jesus entered the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. Simon's mother-in-law lay sick with a fever. They immediately told him about her. He approached, grasped her hand, and helped her up. Then the fever left her, and she waited on them. When it was evening, after sunset, they brought to him all who were ill or possessed by demons. The whole town was gathered at the door. He cured many who were sick with various diseases, and he drove out many demons, not permitting them to speak, because they knew him. Rising very early before dawn, he left and went off to a deserted place where he prayed. Simon and those who were with him pursued him, and on finding him said, "Everyone is looking for you." He told them, "Let us go on to the nearby villages, that I may preach there also. For this purpose have I come." So he went into their synagogues, preaching and driving out demons throughout the whole of Galilee. The Gospel of the Lord.
January 11th, Wednesday of the first week in Ordinary Time. The first reading comes from the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 2, verses 14 to 18. Again today we hear about how Jesus shared in our flesh and blood. Therefore, since he was tested, he understands the situation of those who are tested like him. He can empathize with us. He can identify with our suffering, even with our temptation. He came not to save angels, but rather to save people of flesh and blood. He became like us so that he could identify with us, and we could identify with him. The Gospel is from Mark 1, 28 to 39. Jesus heals the mother-in-law of Simon and Andrew. Remember, they're brothers, and this Simon is Simon Peter. He heals her, and the fever leaves her. This is typical of the Gospel of Mark, where it presents a number of miracles to show that Jesus has the authority, has the power to do what he's preaching about. And then he goes off and prays on his own, and they call him and say, "Everyone's looking for you." His message, we have to go to the nearby villages and preach. And so he went out through the whole of Galilee. That Jesus didn't come just for one particular place, one particular time, but rather he came so that his message be preached all throughout the world, beginning with Galilee and then extending through all of Israel and then to the Samaritans and then beyond. That right from the beginning of the Gospel of Mark, we see that Jesus has come for all of us, not just for a chosen few. Now, at the same time, it doesn't mean that he came in a generic way. He came for all of us, but each of us individually. A great meditation is the idea that Jesus died for me. Even if my sins were 1,000,000 times worse than they are, he still would have died for me. It's probably not a good thing to say he died for humanity, because that makes it too generic. It makes it too general. He died for each one of us, every single one of us, because he loves us to death. And may God bless us.